Hello, everybody. This is me, Aaron,
Greetings.
and Drew of the Paper Dungeon, and this is Table Scraps, a show that we run on Thursdays about the show that we run on Mondays. We play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. We're heading towards like a 3-year long campaign or something like that. We're trucking
We're getting there.
along
Yeah.
in that campaign. I have my start of the stream plugs that I'm going to run through ridiculously quickly because I have maximized my efficiency. First up, I say as I have to swallow and stop my efficiency. First up, where do I want to start with these? I'll start with the Discord. We have a Discord. It's really awesome over there. The two of you that I see in the chat are already in there. And it's a really cool time. It's a really good way to connect with people. If you want to get games going, if you want to just have someone to say good morning to every single day. That's what we're here for. And they'll say good morning back for the most part. Other than Discord, we also have a store. We have www.thepaperdungeon.com, really cool place where you can purchase merch that has our logo on it and other cool things like that. And speaking of merch, a certain Lydia Corinne, another member of the cast, has a store, lydiacorinne.com, where you can buy her art. She is the one who does all of our overlays, all of our character art. Anything that you see on screen that requires art, Lydia probably did it. So you should head over there. She also does commissions, and she needs to pay rent, so you should commission stuff from her, particularly art. Other than that, we also have TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Those are our social medias that you can stop by. I'm really trying. I'm working. It's not going well, but I'm trying to get that stuff up and running. But I'm doing my best. One day I'll have it all figured out, and it'll just be awesome. It'll just be great.
Be fantastic.
So check those out. If you want to support us, there's a lot of ways you can do that. We have a Streamlabs donation. We have a Ko-Fi. And we also have a Patreon. That Patreon, pretty cool. You'll get at least one extra game per month. I think it's like $3 to become a patron. We're planning on also increasing our content on there throughout the year. That's my New Year's resolution. So that's another thing that, assuming all goes well, will be accomplished. So it's pretty rad over there. We appreciate all of our Patreons. All of our patrons a lot. All you patroneers out there.
Patroneers.
So I think that's all of the things that we have in terms of plugs, because I can't remember anything else. So, I mean, we can just get straight into the deal. This past episode. I liked this past episode a lot.
Yeah,
I was a big fan.
I thought it was good.
In my opinion, so I've said this before, I have like favorite episodes for most cast members, like episodes where I'm like, wow, they were really, really good this episode. Like, dang. This was my favorite showing of DJ, our DM.
Yes, 100%.
I think that DJ
Totally
did
agree with that.
a fantastic job for a number of reasons. Even ones that he thinks were not good are reasons that I liked what he did this episode, which it was just a good episode. So to give some backstory, our group has been delving into the plane of pandemonium to search for the plains of Ilver and the body of someone that I can't remember the name of.
Clovar.
Clovar, yes. I always want to say Zood's Thrim, but that's not who we're looking
That's
for.
very. That's not
the
the
guy.
same
It's
thing
not
at
the
all.
one. I know it's a person. It's just not Clovar. But we're searching for Clovar in an old. I don't want to say like warrior, because it sounds like he was more of like a leader, like not like a big fighty guy, but a like, behold my wisdom and strength and power. He probably can fight, because like everyone can fight when you're thousands of years old. That's like the rule of fantasy. But we're looking to find some weapon or armor or trinket of Clovar to use for use in a resurrection spell that we have already previously used to resurrect a formerly dead player character named Melora. Oh yes, are those new headphones, Drew?
They are okay. So fun fact. So these are new headphones. I wore them this past Monday on stream. So we finished. Oh, what were we doing? there's something that the paper dungeon people were all doing. I think it was on Thursday, if I remember
That
correctly.
means that we were recording something.
Yeah, we were recording on Thursday, and then like literally, we finish and we're getting and like people are getting ready to hop off call, and my headphones
Just
break.
explode.
Like, well, yeah, so I'll show you. So I have them right here. These are my other headphones. So this little wire here that
Uh huh.
connects to my computer, s- like something internally, like one of the wires came loose and broke or something, and so I couldn't get anything out of my right earmuff. I couldn't get any
Oh,
noise. I'm like,
that's
oh
no
well.
good. And you need that
I'm
for
like,
like your
well,
job.
yeah. So literally, I that same night after we got done, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna go over to Walmart real quick because it's literally right across the street from where we live and pick up some new headphones. So I'm like, okay, well, and like they're not the best headphones, but they work.
Yeah, they do what you need them to do, and they look
Yeah,
great.
thank you. Yes.
Handskate also agrees. Um, but yeah, so we are in Pandemonium searching for some remnant of Clobar. We encounter a lot of things. Most of them try to kill us. One of them is very friendly. My favorite NPC, grandmother, best NPC. It's been a great time. She's just old, and that's her character trait, and I can stand by that. Um, did I send a thing in the Discord already? Sorry, I got distracted there. Okay, yeah, I did. I'm not,
Uh,
okay. I'm not crazy.
yeah, I was just, I think I saw
You
it.
see, at first I couldn't remember if I sent a notification that we were live in the Discord, and then I couldn't remember if I added everyone. Because it would have been really awkward if I just posted, "Hey, we're live," but it didn't notify anyone that we were
Right?
live.
Yeah, no, yeah, nobody knew.
Um, but yeah, so we're traveling along. A bunch of things try to kill us. There's a magical sun, a bunch of mirror creatures, a sandstorm, just a bunch of bad stuff. We meet a dragon. We're going along. We're traveling. We're doing our stuff. We're moving through the plains. We reach the plains of Illaver. Um, briefly before that happens, um, in the things that we encounter, lucky me, I managed to roll apparently badly and gaze upon the face of a forgotten entity, a great old one laying undercover in the plains of Pandemonium, which just completely wipes my memory of anything other than
Hmm.
who I am. I don't remember anything that I've done. I don't know who anyone is. I'm just chilling there. I know that my character's name is Abinthy Tripowitz. I forgot it for a couple seconds. Not gonna lie.
Aaron forgot.
Not gonna lie.
Abney remembered. Yeah.
Um, but I don't know who anyone else is. I don't know what I've done. Which is very awkward to role play because like much of who your character is dependent on the things that they've done, right?
Hmm.
So I kind of had to figure out like what are the core things that drive Abinthy to act how he acts, and what is he doing because of a past event. So if
Hmm.
those events are not in place, what is he like? Which comes into play in the story very quickly. Because
Yeah.
upon reaching the
Yep.
plains of Illaver, there's a big glowing light that starts just sucking us straight towards it. It's a bad time. And it's like, hey, what do you seek? Right? Terrible thing to ask someone who doesn't know who they are.
Right.
Um, like, what are you looking for? I don't know. um, everyone has asked the question, what do you seek? Apathy's answer is knowledge, and through knowledge, eventually power, which can be taken in
Hmm.
a lot of different ways.
Right.
And I want to be clear, it isn't like Abinthy is he isn't after the knowledge for the power. He just is aware that it comes with it.
Right.
Um, and so like to him, traveling to somewhere and finding somewhere really beautiful that no one has seen for thousands of years, that is just as powerful as learning another spell. So like he's just enamored with existence and he wants to know everything about it. He wants to understand how it ticks, how it works, why things are the way that they are, and like honestly, if he never fought again and no one was ever fighting, it would be great. He's super down for it. He isn't about the war. He's like I like to know things. Uh, that is not a great answer to add to the question, what do you seek, when they're looking for like good moral traits.
Uh-huh.
Like, hey, I like knowing things and power. It's like, okay,
Uh-huh.
no, go away. Um,
Go away.
so Abinthy gets kicked out of the big floating orb in the sky.
Or
Everyone else has their own answers.
uh-huh.
Edward answers. Well, I suppose Edward goes last, so I'll start with Renaya. Renaya answers that she wants to be with the one that she loves. So to be with Grotz, to have the people that she loves love her and be loved by her. Good answer. Love is a pretty good answer for what do you seek when you're talking to a big floating judgy ball in the sky. And so here's one thing that I really liked, that I mean, one thing. There's multiple things, and this connects to it. That DJ did when we kind of went through these visions in response to what it is we were doing. So first off, all of this was ad lib on DJ's part. He came up with the scenarios on his own, just blatantly in response to whatever our answer was,
Right.
which is a lot of work and a lot of effort, especially if it turns out to be good.
Right.
That takes a lot of time and experience to be able to do that. Like, you can only predict so much what a character is going to answer when you ask them that question. But for you and Renaya and Abinthians in some ways, because Abinthy was kind of fated for failure from the beginning, it felt like there were very clear options, but none of them were stated.
Right.
So, like, in Renaya's, she, like, Groth shows up, and it absolutely cuts to the core.
Right.
With some of the things that DJ said
doesn't
there.
hold anything back.
Absolutely.
Just,
He's like, hey,
it hurt so much.
We can't be together, and it's because of you. Because you kind of suck.
Just
and
the worst.
I'll give you time to take your things, you can go. Then it cuts to way in the future when Renaya's an elf, so like 700 years old.
Yeah, like hundreds of years later.
And which also adds a layer of depth to it, because if it was like 10 years or like 50 years, if Renaya was human, that's a different story, right? Like, that's like, okay, yeah, but like 700 years that's wild.
That's a long time.
DJ asks her whether or not she still loves Grotz, or still hopes that love can flourish between them, or if she is content with the way that things are. Which this is a beautiful thing that I recommend as a DM, right? Because when you are telling a story, you can't have some things have an option for failure, right? Because if none of us end up in the glowing orb, we just can't get Clovar back. Right. Which is a pretty important factor of the story. So it can be taken either way, where if Lydia responds with, also, hello, Lydia. If Lydia responds, yes, which she did. She's like, I still have hope. I still love Grotz. This is what I want. Then it's like, oh, good. That's a good thing. She's capable of maintaining hope, even when she has, like, been scorned by the thing that she loves. Right. Like, she is still willing to try and continue forward and brave dangerous seas and whatnot. And if she says no, she is content, that's still a good thing. Because that means that she is not willing to let her existence be tied to another person. She's not codependent and reliant on the love from someone that when it's taken away, she is helpless. So no matter what the answer is, it's right. Which is fantastic DMing, because you got to get Renaya in the sphere. That's an important part of the story. But it never feels like there isn't a choice for Renaya. And it also informs more about her character and what she's doing and how she feels about topics and subjects, and just gives you more insight as to, for the viewers, who they're watching, for the players, who they're playing and playing with. Same thing with Cather's story, right? So Cather, Drew, this is the person who plays Cather. What was it that you sought? I know the answer. I just want to include you in the conversation.
Yeah. So obviously when Cather floated up to the giant ball of light in the sky, his answer to the question of what do you seek, and his answer was that he seeks redemption.
Yes.
Which and I afterwards I thought about it. It was kind of interesting because like how DJ interpreted it, I didn't find surprising, but also wasn't necessarily the only correct answer. Because DJ went the route of thinking about Cather thinking about redemption for himself because he's an oathbreaker. Redemption for being a champion of fate, which is totally a valid thing. And I absolutely love what happened in the vision of him kind of fighting basically himself in a way, and kind of re-establishing his confidence and his willingness to keep fighting
and what he wants and stuff like that.
Exactly. And except that the interesting thing, at least for me, is like redemption. He doesn't just seek redemption for that though, because he seeks redemption for all of his past failures. His failures for his friends, his failures in his life as a drow to try and help change his people for the better. All these things that he blames himself for, is what he's seeking redemption for. Ultimately, to the point that he can embrace the afterlife and not go to some place horrible like the Nine Hells. That's ultimately kind of what's
you can chill with me on the 6th layer, bro.
Yeah, he'll just chill with having
I'll put in a recommendation like, hey, send him to the 6th layer.
Yeah, we just say we'll keep an eye on him. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's jail. He was a jailer. That's a fitting punishment. He was a judge. Like, put him in jail. Yeah, that's great.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, no, I absolutely love what DJ did with that. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh yeah, and once again, it's a beautiful example of no matter what you do, the DM can kind of spin this in a way that you did the right thing, but also make you still feel like had you not done that thing, it would have been wrong. When in reality, no matter what you did, it was a good choice. So you see a representation of this brilliant stag that is like your symbol of like what you do as a paladin,
right? As a member of the White Guard,
and then it turns into a bipedal monster and tries to kill you. And there's really, when something's trying to kill you, there's 2 things that you can do, 3 technically, but the third option really isn't out. The third option is just run away, right? Not really an option. That kind of defeats the purpose of the thing. That's probably the one way that you could have blown it.
Right. That's the one way that Cather fails and also gets rejected.
As a DM, I would be like, oh shoot, I don't know how I would spin this so that it's like that. But also, Cather's not the type of person to do that, so I wouldn't really worry about that. The 2 options that you have presented to you are fight the thing or not fight the thing.
Right.
No matter what you choose, you chose fight the thing. Like, you can spin this really easy that you did the right thing, where at one point in time you're taking your stand and you are saying, no, I will not be taken over by my fears and my failures. I will overcome who I was to become who I am. But if you give yourself over to the thing, then it shows that you are relenting and merciful, that you are not desiring of death and danger, that you are willing to give yourself over to a cause,
right? To
be overcome by it. But still stand true. So as a DM, you can just do whatever. This is great. No matter what you did,
either
you're getting sent into the great big glowing ball in the sky, right? I love it. And then there was grants, and this was my favorite thing about Edward's trial, is Edward wished for peace. I guess that's what he desired, and that's a very broad topic. In terms of peace. And so DJ did a really cool thing. He brought him into kind of the like Solomon the Wise position of this great king and like helper of the people who overcomes issues and problems. And there were so many things in this segment that I absolutely love that DJ did. First off, he never named the wife. There was never any physical description. There was just a wise queen.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Because it leaves it very open to the topic, and it just shows that wise Edward, like old Edward, chose a wise queen as like who that would be, and that's just a very good thing. Also, this is canonically the second time that Edward has had an illusion child, and I would like to point that out. DJ's really pushing for Edward to have a kid.
Yep.
He's gonna have one. It's just gonna be what happens. But what I really loved, because the main moral quandary in this was, and this was for the first time out of the options given, or out of the scenes given, DJ gave Edward the two options. He literally said them out loud. He was like, "You have a choice here. You can either A, remain in your position as king, and you are a dang good one, or B, you can give up your own personal peace, go into the lower classes and go out into the world and further the amount of peace that other people can feel at the cost of your own." And no matter what you choose here, once again, good things. You can word it as good. Where if Edward stays as a king, then that is showing that he is willing to continue to work for the peace of others, right, while also maintaining his own safety. Like, right, he is like, I am a good king. If I leave, dangerous things will follow me.
Right.
Like, there's things that I can do in this position that I cannot do lower down. Right. But if he chooses to leave the position of king, then that is self-sacrificial. That's good. That's a good trait to have. He is sacrificing his own peace for the benefit of the people and the world. And then Edward did something that I love, is that he chose option C, which was both.
Which was both. That's right.
and this is my favorite thing. I love it, because in some ways, this is the first time in my mind that Edward has shown that he is extraordinary. That he has a reason that he fits in this group with a bunch of random numbskulls that are like dating gods and demons and devils and all this stuff, and like, yep, cosmic changes evolve around, and then there's like Edward. And it's like, why is he here? And this is the first time that Edward really shows, I am different not only from ordinary people, but also from the rest of the group. Because he finds a third option, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And DJ mm-hmm. runs with it. Edward says, I am not going to leave my position as king. I am going to be absent from it, but I'm going to appoint my queen in my stead, because I know and I trust her to be strong and wise as I would be. Mm-hmm. But I am going to go on my own journey. I'm going to go on an adventure. And I am going
on an adventure.
Absolutely. And he's like, I'm going to go find a friend, and I'm going to learn more and become stronger and wiser. Which also mm-hmm. carries a lot of parallels into how this whole thing started for Edward too. So it not only shows that he is different, but also that he is the same as he was, is that he was always this way, where he mm-hmm. chooses willingly to sacrifice his own health and safety without giving up anything to help other people, to go out into somewhere that he doesn't understand, which right. is so cool. Parallels. I literally, Edwards was my favorite out of the four, because it was just like, there wasn't action, but there were so many little things that informed you of so much.
I think for me, like, my favorite part about Edwards was starting to see some of the things, some of the character traits that Grant has been talking about.
Absolutely, for
like,
so long.
For Edward for so long, of like, this is where I want Edward to end up, and to actually like to see like some of those threads really coming to fruition.
Absolutely.
was I mean,
it was
masterfully
super,
done
super cool.
by Grant to like keep that going throughout this whole 2 years of playing.
other
but
fantastic
also
thing that
just like really cool. Yeah.
Grant actually talked to me was his like favorite thing that DJ did in this episode was um making the queen not just be like a yes man for Edward, where
Mhm.
like Edward would ask the queen questions, and she wouldn't just give flat answers, very like standard shallow responses, where a lot of time the queen didn't know or wasn't fully confident, but had trust in Edward to be the person that she married, which is awesome because this queen has zero buildup as to who she is.
Right.
It's just known that they have trust in each other, where Edward can say, I will put you in my place because I trust you to do the right thing. And the queen says, I don't know if I can ever be who you were, but I can be who I am. And if you trust me, then I believe that I can do it.
Right.
So go do your thing. I will take care of things here. When he asked her
Best
about
mystery queen
faith, and
wife ever.
oh my goodness, it was awesome. It was great. You see, if we ever meet an actual NPC that ends up like that, I'm in. Because right now, Edward's love interests have been horrible.
Honestly.
I like the closest
Okay.
one is like to being all right is your sister, and that's not even a love interest. She just
Yeah, I
happens
don't.
to be nearby.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen.
Hey,
Like
I have to build ships in the harbor for everyone,
that is true.
even if it's a
You
single slab of wood. It'll float, dude. It'll float. I've
Fair
got
enough.
it. Like there's like for Edward, there's like, um, I specifically didn't build a ship for what's her face, the traitor that I don't like, who's not a villain, but I'm determined to believe that she is. You know who it
I
is.
don't even know.
The one who the one who plays the instruments in the war. What's
Oh,
her face?
like the moon elf one?
Yeah,
Uh Tiala?
Tiala. Yeah, no, didn't build a bow for that one. It's like it's scrap wood, right? I didn't like her.
I don't know
I
why, but
refused.
yeah.
I don't like her. She came on too quick. That's not healthy.
Well, that's maybe true.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, too
I can probably
fast.
agree with that.
Calm it down there, Tiala. All right, slow your roll. All right, watch yourself. Um,
Watch yourself.
and then there's Sam. I think the Sam ship is going well, but like, is it the best? No, it's like
I mean,
kind of
again, like
superficial.
we honestly, I'm still here for the meme of each of us dates, a
I
god,
know.
an
Look,
archfey, a
we
devil, and a demon.
gotta hit him up with. I think that we can convince the Sun Archfey that she like shouldn't fight against us with the power of bardic magic. I think that Edward can be like, hey, you, look at me. You're hot. I'm
I
hot.
don't
Let's go.
I don't know. See, here's the the problem is this Starry and Cather have beef. So like I
I've
don't think
known
that's gonna
plenty
work
of
out.
people who are dating someone that someone else doesn't like.
Okay, but like it's not even like we don't like it's like that's like, oh hey,
Yeah, she
I'm
killed
really
your
good friends with this
girlfriend, but
person
like your
and
girlfriend's alive now.
I want to date somebody who literally has actively tried to kill my friends.
I think, I just think that you aren't looking at the big
And doesn't
picture.
have any redeeming qualities.
Um, really powerful. Redeeming quality number one. First thing that Abinthy looks for.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm
Well,
just
yes, that
saying.
is
I'm
true. That is
just
the first thing
saying.
Abathane looks for.
Yeah,
Oh
so
boy.
but I loved Edward's whole deal. And once again, fantastic for character development. It really informs us about Edward and Edward about us, and shows like his change and all sorts of good things. It was just a very good segment. Abinthy also had a thing. He was actually the first to go, but as I said, not really a lot of good options, which
Yeah.
also I love. Because here's the thing. So DJ like apologized. He was like, "Sorry, man, that you didn't like get to be in like half of the episode." I'm like, first of all, you forget I may not be playing Tarak, but I am the same person who played him. Not being in half an episode is like my vibe. I have had to be in way too much of the episodes for way too long with Abinthy. Me just being like, I like to, I explained it to Grant. I have a very powerful essence when I'm playing a character. It is like a wall of existence that sometimes can be kind of difficult to play with because it can almost be threatening, where it's like,
Right.
I am very present in a scene. So it's best when those scenes that I'm in come around less often. So that way people have time to breathe.
Right.
Abinthy is not exactly the type of person to stay in the background. So at times it can be difficult to play with him, I feel, for other people, because it's like, Abinthy is so there. Even when it's not about Abinthy, Abinthy is there. And so this was great, because first thing that happened, one, it showed that failure was a possibility.
Right.
First thing that it did. As a DM, sometimes it can be hard to instill urgency when you want everyone to get to a destination. Because it's like, well, shoot. If they don't make it to the destination, where does the story go?
Right.
Two, it showed that at his core, Abinthy is fundamentally different from the rest of the group for some reason. Which has been, honestly, has been kind of my goal as a player to show that while Abinthy is here and Abinthy is helping and Abinthy is like a good guy, Abinthy is not the same as the rest of Fate's Gambit. He can't be, because there was a core group of you that all had the similar existence. Now Abinthy has kind of just dropped in there.
Right.
And so I love that. That helps me continue my storyline, which was not intentional by DJ, but because he didn't know about it. But awesome.
It's perfect. Yep.
Very well done from him.
Worked out great.
And second, it just gives, it helps further the plot. One of the things that sometimes as a DM you can struggle with is when you do instill that failure or difficulty that like makes people go, oh shoot, I could fail and get kicked out of the glowing orb. It slows things down tremendously.
Right.
But he didn't do that. He actually sped things up. Because when Abinthy gets kicked out of the orb, and this was me going, what are the things that Abinthy is doing now because of the existences that the events that he has had in his past? One, he is staying with this party. Two, he is actively protecting the people that are here. So that just leads me to three, which is leave. And so Abinthy just teleports out of there. He fully plane shifts away. Which, as a character, he was like, this will not be a problem. As a player, I am like, I am in trouble. Because they have no way to leave. Abinthy is their ticket out of here.
Yep.
So as a player, there was a big moral quandary of, if I do this, will the players be mad at me? / the DM be mad at me? / will I be mad at me? But I'm like, I have to play what I think the character would do here. So I'm just going to have him leave. So he plane shifts to the material plane, and DJ does a very, very good thing, which he ends me up at the home of Yorwick. Yorwick's home. Yorwick is a character that has been mentioned multiple times. Perhaps not his name, but it's a friend of Abinthy's, who is a fantastic smith and kind of the father figure of Talanashta. Of course, Abinthy at this point in time does not realize it because he has no memory for the next 21 hours.
Something like that.
Because I've been keeping track. It was an hour and then another like 8 for a long rest out of 30. So 21 hours. So Abinthy's at Yorwick's house, which is cool because now that means that we have a really fast reason to get there, because our goal was always to get to Yorwick's, but I know as well as you know that what was actually going to happen was we get done with the whole getting the stuff of Clovar, and then we spend 2 episodes dilly-dallying around trying to figure out what to do, and then we end up at Yorwick's.
Uh-huh.
Right? We don't have that kind of time, Drew. And so now I'm at Yorwick's, which means that as soon as this whole amnesia thing wears off, and I can head back to Pandemonium, pick them all up, and get out of here, we just head straight to Yorwick. We can just do that. Because Apathy can work things out beforehand. We've got conversation. We're good to go. At worst, we can like plane shift to a location and then teleport over to the other to Yorwick's. That way, we can give them the stuff that Clovar, like we can give them Clovar stuff, which is what I'll talk about next. Fantastically done by DJ. Speaking of Clovar, the rest of you end up in what the Plains of Illaver once looked like right before the trial occurs. You see a whole bunch of messed up stuff. People are dying. Terrible. It's bad. We see the rod that we've been collecting the parts of. Where y'all are big chillin'. It's bad. But it's great. Very well played by DJ. Also, fantastic work on DJ. He had his stuff prepared.
Woo!
Woo! We love to see a DM who shows up and is not ad-libbing the really important lore parts.
Yep.
So you go, there's a whole bunch of dead bodies with little glowing artifacts, which is, it's another one of my favorite things that DMs can do, which is like, my players might not entirely remember what they're supposed to be getting. So I'm just going to make it really clear that these glowing little bits are linked to their person. And that's what you're trying to get. So now you need to find Clovar's and get it.
And then
get it. And it's like, he's like, I just want to make it really sure, because when you step close to one, you see visions of who this person is. And you know that this is Clovar. Fantastic. It's DMing is like herding kittens. And you have to, or like dealing with kindergartners. We have to be very clear when you need to be clear about what is happening.
Yep.
But I'm interested in your thoughts. So I have my own thoughts. I know that you have yours. When you find Clovar's little trinket, first of all, it's under a tarum tree. Second of all, it is swords identical to those of your girlfriend's. Atrasil.
Yeah.
And the little trinket that we grab is a mithril or adamantine.
I think it's adamantine.
Little tarum fruit, which is kind of like a single cherry size.
Like on like a chain necklace.
On like a chain necklace. And I know that those have a lot of symbolism with various things that you are connected with. So I'm interested to know what you think is going on here.
Well, I think so. Drew thinks, and also Cather thinks, that it's somehow connected to Atrasil's father, actually.
Mm-hmm. My brain was going the same place. Since
Atrasil's father was originally, I mean, as we already knew, like Atrasil took the place of her father in the divine hierarchy as the god of war and peace. Or War and Life, whatever.
War and Peace, fantastic character from Sky High.
War and Peace. And so I thought it was super, super interesting to see that, and just like to see the tarum tree and with the fruit and the swords. Yeah, and it's. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly like what it all means, but it definitely feels like one of those things of like, okay, like somehow like Clovar and I think his name is Arus, is the Atrasil's dad. I think that's right. That's why.
For a second, I was like, wait a second, is Arus an anagram of Clovar somehow? Like, what if you spin the letters around? Could you imagine? What if we resurrect your girlfriend's dad?
Dude, I'd be so fine with that.
Or like her uncle or something.
Straight up have another god on our side.
And he's like, well, okay, to be fair, I was around before the gods were, so I'm not a god. I'm just kind of here. My name's Clovar. I'm Atrasil's uncle.
I mean, just his uncle.
Like,
That would be kind of interesting if Clovar was
yeah,
his uncle.
my brother was what's his face, and we all just use the same swords. We all just
Yeah, right.
trained in the
We all
same
just had
martial
them
art. Like,
forged.
what are
We
you
we
gonna do?
bought them. We bought them from the same
Yeah, they
shop
were for
back in the
bulk
day.
on sale,
Yeah, you know.
clearance. It was awesome.
Yeah, but yeah. So like, I'm really interested. Like, did Clovar and Arus fight each other and like to the death or something, or were they like were they allies working together? It's hard to tell, but there's
I
definitely
hope
feels
that
like some
it's
sort of
like
connection there.
I really hope that it ends up being that like Clovar and
Arus, yeah, I think that's what it is.
Arus are like brothers that fought against each other. I hope so. That's like one of my favorite storylines that things can happen, where it's like,
Yeah,
we were brothers, Anakin.
we were.
You were supposed
That's
to
the
destroy them.
that is one other thing. I mean, I kind of said it in game too. Like realize it, like because I didn't even connect the dots at first that Clovar was a Vesht, and then that the Vesht were the first race of people to go
Mm-hmm.
against uh um what's her bucket Mother Goddess,
Yeah.
that person, and were the people that basically helped. I mean, they didn't kick off the Age of Pandemonium. Uh, Asmodeus did that,
Yeah.
but like we're like the first
But
race of people
potentially,
to rebel.
I think canonically, Asmodeus may have started as a Vesht. Because I think that was like the majority of people were Vesht. They were the most. They were the most like. But then like
Oh, maybe.
I think he was turned into a fiend, and that became like a lineage of his.
Uh-huh.
Because I think most people were so in reality, most of the like big bads that we're fighting against, other than the Archfey, were
Are just
probably
Vesh.
Veshed at one point in time. Like most of the
Maybe.
gods are.
Yeah.
Like they were originally mortals, and if they were mortal, then they were probably Veshed. Like some
Yeah.
might have been human, some of them and dwarves and whatnot, but for the most part, I think Vesht was like the primary existence on the planet.
Right.
And that just got wiped out or turned into other things.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
100%. So, yeah, totally fair point. So it's yeah, but anyway, but that did leave me concerned. I'm like, okay, do we actually want to revive this guy? Is he
Absolutely,
actually
we
going to be
do.
helpful to us?
Well, his the vibe sent from the magic necklace seemed legit.
Yeah.
He
Well,
seemed
yeah, and then
like a good guy.
once we found the necklace, I'm like, okay, like there's some reason to be concerned, but this guy seems like he could be like actually good and helpful to
Yeah, I
us,
don't think that he'll be a hindrance. And to be fair, we don't really care about him. It's the other ones that care about him. The Wisteria
Yes,
Veil. They
yeah.
can have their fun with Clovar. Um, I really hope that we get betrayed by Wisteria Veil.
Honestly, it kind of feels like it might be an option.
I really hope so. Like I mean that it'll just be really devastating for everyone involved. Mainly for me, but for everyone involved. Like they're like, "Hey,
I
we
don't.
resurrected your friend. Hey, we resurrected this other really nice guy. Hey, by the way, we're Satan." Like
Yeah,
that's what I want. I want a good betrayal. I love a good betrayal. I'm in.
yeah, that would be really unfortunate if
It
it did
would be.
happen.
And then we're like without allies again, and we potentially just resurrected someone who's like not
Super
good to
not
have
chill.
against. Like, yeah. So I think that'll be a good
Because
time.
like the thing right that I find very interesting right about Clovar is the idea that because the based off the memories we got, like he's just like he's somebody of great importance and of leadership within the Vesht, right? Who's like who knew the gravity of his leadership, but at the same time, the Vesht still turned against the gods or against Lanatari. So it's like, okay, was he trying? Like, was he convincing them to turn against Lanatari, or
Well,
was he convincing them to not?
so here's my perception. I don't think it was as much that they were like Skrulon and Tari. I think that they were like, "Yo, wait a second, we can die." And then it just turned into war. And then Lanatari showed up, and she was like, "What? Literally, what is
What are you
wrong with
doing?
you people?"
Uh huh.
And then was like, "I'm just gonna wipe you out and start over again."
Mm-hmm.
but this time I'm gonna put people in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again. By the way, it's happening again.
By the way, it's happening again.
Turns out it's crazy. So like I don't know if it was as much like there were obviously it was a war, so there was like two sides to it. And I'm just going to assume that Clovar was on the side of like, hey, maybe we should like not constantly be killing everyone. And then the other side was like, screw you, we're going to kill you. And he's like, okay, if you die, it isn't from self-defense. It's not because I want this. I kind of imagine him as like a very like a theme-wise Gandhi without all of the weird Gandhi stuff.
Sure.
Because Gandhi wasn't always great. But like, yeah, kind of that like, hey, look, we should just not be the way that we are. We should just calm down. That's why he was gathered in a meeting place of the minds, like a Socrates or Plato.
And then he died.
I hope that he's Plato. I hope that he is this world's version of Plato, because we could use a person whose name means broad and has canonically never lost a wrestling bout. Like that is who I'm looking for. Like he's like, hello, yes, I am Clovar, the greatest mind of a generation. Give him the elbow, and then he like high drops off a building and breaks someone's face. And he's like, peace is the answer.
I provide peace by ridding my enemies of their will to
I just
live.
want DJ to get a bunch of Plato quotes, and that's all he says.
Honestly,
I don't even know any off the top of my head.
Neither do I, but that would be fantastic.
Hold on. Could you imagine that as his wrestling callouts?
Those are his special anime moves that he says out loud before he does them.
Straight up, someone like imagine a like the pre-fight where they're like talking to each other and throwing barbs, and someone's like, well, you know what, Clovar, I think that you're just an absolute crack. Like, I don't think that anything you say is legitimate. And then he just stands up and he goes, opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. Ah! And then like punches him in the face. Like, I'm in. That's the type of person. All men by nature equal, made all of the same earth by one workman. Ah! Ah! And like throws him over a building.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. And someone's like, you're dumb. And he's like, if a man neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life. And then like breaks their legs. Like, this is, first of all, this is a NPC that I'm making whenever I DM.
Right.
This is what I want.
Next time we see Clovar in like campaign 2 or something, he's going to be a completely different Clovar than what we see in campaign 1.
Books give out a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. And he's just like super jacked in a library. Like, this is what I want. That's what I want.
He's a jacked WWE librarian.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my Clovar. This is what I hope pops up from whatever this whole resurrection thing. Just a buff philosopher.
That would be so funny.
Who's like, I do not wish to fight, but if the fight comes to me, I will not turn away. Like, put me in, coach.
Yeah,
this is like that and grandmother are going to be my two favorite NPCs. That right there. It's the dangerous duo right there. She's like, I don't know what's going on. Have a snickerdoodle. And then he's like, yes, sustenance for the body is sustenance for the mind.
See, but the funny thing is, she would say like, "Here, have a snickerdoodle," and he's like, "Thank you," and then he pulls out like a great sword of giant slaying or something, you know?
He eats it. He's like, yes, delicious. Iron is important for the blood. I am anemic. Like, I don't know why, but I do kind of imagine Plato is anemic for some reason. He's like, I will wrestle you and I will win, but if I stand up too quickly, oh man, am I in trouble.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say something, and the vision of Plato being like, you challenge me, I'm going to sit back down. Oh man, what a dream.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, it was a very good episode. Um,
yeah, very
and then
solid.
y'all got the stuff and you left the little glowing orb, and a
Hmm.
bunch of bad stuff happened to get out of that orb. Not like to your characters, but you had to like look into the eyes of darkness and see
Hmm.
yourself laid bare. Like,
Hmm.
so that
Should have
wasn't
got
fun.
murdered.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think that they're like bad things. Also, I will
No.
say that if you listen to the intro, there will be some little clues hidden throughout the intro and references and things that like the further we get into this campaign, you're gonna listen to that and be like, wait a second, isn't that
Wait
a
a
thing that DJ
moment.
said? And that's because I knew that DJ put things in the intro that were little hints and clues.
Oh
So it was
yeah.
like, hey DJ, I'm going to voice this intro. What are the things that have to be in it? So I know them all now. It was a
There
very
you
nonchalant way of me stealing information from the DM. So
go. It's like,
it's not stealing because
aha!
it's open to the
This
public.
was
You can
my
just hear it.
plan all
Yeah, this whole
along.
time I knew it from start to finish.
That's right.
Um, but yeah, so uh, you guys get out of the glowing orb and you're like,
Yep.
oh, sick. Let me check on the NPCs. You go check on your sister. You go check on the dragon,
Yep.
and then you're like,
Yep. Where's Abinthy?
yo, where's the boy? And then we get a cut over to Abinthy, and I tried to make him look kind of like a kitten in the rain, or like some like, you know how sad you feel whenever you see someone who has like lost their memory, like someone who has like
Yeah. Yeah.
oh what's the name of the thing that when people get old and it starts
Amnesia?
with an amnesia. There's another like Alzheimer's.
All time.
People with Alzheimer's are like the saddest things in the world. Cause I'll watch a video of like this girl is taking care of her mother who doesn't remember who she is, and I'm just sad the whole time. It's like devastating when
Yeah.
they're like, "Well, very nice girl," like, "Oh yes, well, your parents must be very proud," and you see the person on the inside just break a little.
Yeah.
That's what I want. So I just have Abinthy curled into a little ball in the corner in the cold, where he's like, I don't want to intrude, so I'm just going to wrap myself in a cloak in the corner and hope that no one finds me. Like, oh, that's sad. Like, look at
Poor
that
guy.
little kitten huddled against the curb trying to avoid the rain. It's not working. Like, yeah, it was a very good episode. I had a lot of fun. DJ did an absolutely fantastic job with it. Obviously, the rest of the players also did, in my opinion. I think that all of you did a very good job. This is in my. I'm not sure if it's my number one DJ, but it's definitely in the top 3 of DJ moments, and I can't think of another 2 that I would put ahead of it off the top of my head. So it's probably taking the top spot for me in terms of good things that DJ did. Good episodes, I guess. And then this is definitely a top 5 to top 3 Grant for me as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. If I can remember
Like,
like
I
a specific
know
DJ moment.
that
Like
there
they
are
exist,
episodes
but
that I was like, wow, DJ knocked this out of the park. And I can't remember. I know that as a player, I know like the player episodes that I was like, wow, DJ absolutely crushed it. But for the life of me, I can't remember a DM moment that really topped this one for me. Yeah.
I'm sure like from like the war, there's probably something
Yeah, there's probably
with the
something
war
in
for
there.
Thala.
Um,
Oh, I
yeah,
mean, he did also gut us after we defeated Melusina.
yep, that was a.
Ep-
But even then,
episode
I
10.
see that's the thing. It's kind of like I'm not a movie critic by any means. I don't even really watch movies, but there's
Mhm.
some movies that I'm like I'll watch and I'll be like, I can clearly tell that what they were going for here was shock value, and it's a good value, and it works. But I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm like impressed by it. Like it was well done. But like it's also it's I don't want to say that it's easy because it's not easy. It's a lot of effort and work. It's kind of like comedy, right? If you
Uh-huh.
think of comedy in movies, um, word like talk conversation and script writing is the easiest form of movie comedy. Like
Mhm.
it's not easy by any means. It takes a lot of skill to write good scripts that are comedic and funny. But comparing that to how difficult it is to have comedy from things that are visual, so like ways that the camera moves. So a good
Right.
example is in Up, right? So one of the things that animated movies have that a lot of live action movies don't have is certain things that they can do with visuals, right? That's one of the benefits of animation. There's a scene in Up where the old man throws the ball away and he's trying to escape from the bird and the dog, right?
Uh-huh.
And he runs up this hill with the kid behind him. And he's like, I got it. I'm away now. And then like
He looks
the
and
camera
they're right
pans
next to
up
him.
and the bird is like right above him. And then he's
Yep.
like, and then you hear a voice and it pans over to the dog. And and he's like, oh my God. That is comedy. That's just good camera comedy. That's really hard to do, especially in live action. Live action camera comedy is just not a thing that they really do anymore. Physical comedy, Jackie Chan movies,
Oh,
incredible
sure.
use of physical
Yeah.
comedy. Really hard to do. Anyone can read a script and be funny because the script is funny. But like
Right.
certain types of the comedy is really difficult. That's kind of what I get with the like shock value stuff, where it's like, yes, it's good and it's not easy, but would I necessarily be impressed by it? No, because like you can kind of just put anything that's startling and it'll do that.
Right. Right.
Um, and so I don't know if it makes it into my top. I think it probably makes it in top 10 moments for me. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just desensitized to kid death. Maybe that's just not a
Maybe,
not a thing
maybe
that
you are.
I've watched way too many gruesome animes to be affected. I watched Berserk all the way through. I'm fine, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Like kids died like every episode in that show. In fact, it like
Or an Attack on
starts
Titan.
most episodes off with kid death. It's like, yeah, a kid died, and you're like, nah. If you want to be desensitized to shock value, Berserk is
There you
what you want to watch. After that, everything you see is like, I mean, it's bad, but it's not Berserk bad.
go. It's not Berserk.
And when it is Berserk bad, you're like, that was pretty well done. That was pretty good. Not Berserk well done, but it was pretty good. Um,
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward
Very
to
good
next
episode.
episode
Oh,
to
yeah.
see what happens to Abinthy.
What happens? What if I just died? What if Yorwick just killed me?
That would be greatly unfortunate for
I
all
get
of us.
my third character, where
However, if I do think, I mean, luckily we do have a backup plan though. At least I have a backup plan. If for whatever reason, we can't reach Abinthy, we could try to reach out to Leshka,
mm,
and Leshka should be able to come retrieve the party as well.
the troubling part
Um,
is, he can probably find a. I mean, he can get into Pandemonium, but you have to be familiar with the area that you're plane shifting to. So he can't plane shift to the plains of Illaver. He would have to like
Well,
go in there
well, so
and then like
this would
teleport to the party and then
so
plane shift out.
well, yeah, I was gonna say like my basic plan, like if we were to get help from Leshka, would be, he goes to the
Goes to the
library,
library.
gets into
He's
Pandemonium
like,
the same
"So,
way
I'll
we
be
did,
back."
uses the teleport spell just to teleport directly to the party,
Mm-hmm. And then plane shifts out.
and then plane shift out.
Yeah, that's doable. That's doable. It's pretty boring. I look. My guess is this is my prediction.
Uh-huh.
Straight up, Yorwick is going to have access to lesser restoration in some way, shape, or
Yes.
form.
Yes.
But it's going to take
100%.
like a little while before he realizes that that's a thing that needs to be done.
Right. Yeah.
And
he's
then
gonna be talking to Abinthy a little bit, and Abinthy's gonna be like,
Abinthy, I thought you were dead. And Abinthy's like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, it's just like, do I know you? It's like, quit playing around, dude. I was
um,
just like, I'm being serious. I have no idea who you are. I don't know
but
why I'm here. I
this
don't
is
know
the
where I
beauty
am.
of Abinthy is that he would realize that either A, this is a trick, or B, this person actually knows and he doesn't remember who he is. But he would not like let that be revealed. It's kind of like that, like when someone sees you in the grocery store and they're like, "Hey man, what's up?" And you're like, "Hey,"
Yeah, fair, very fair, very
and
true.
you just play it off, and they're like, "Man, I haven't seen you since high school." And you're like, "Yeah, high school, Norfolk High School, right?" Like, the one that I went to school, and they're like, "Yeah, we were in science together," and you're like, "Yes, science in our fresh senior. I didn't have a science class my senior year." Like, and he's like, "No, man, like the extracurricular science class. You don't remember me?" And you're like, "No, I remember you." Mick Jagger is your favorite song artist. Of course, my friend Carrie. Like, you're just cycling through. You're doing like the mentalist thing where you just like A B C D D D dog Doug. Your name's Doug, and they're like, "How did you know?"
See, the funny thing though is apathy can't even do that.
Yeah, he'll just keep cycling through. It'll be like he won't try to ever learn the identity of this person. He'll just play it off as like, "Yes, I absolutely do know who you are. It has been a long time. It's not surprising that you thought I was dead. Clearly, I have done many things. Name one? Well, you know. I've been all over
You
the
know.
place." And the best part is, I think that Abinthy would just end up making up things that he's done, and some of them
Oh,
might even
100%.
be correct. Where he's like, "Yes, I fought armies and slain gods and, done all of that stuff." And like, okay, 2/3 of what you're saying is kind of close. 1/3
Yeah,
I
it's kind
know
of
you
accurate.
haven't done.
Uh-huh.
um, yeah, so it'll be a fun little dance around the subject. And theoretically, worst comes to worst, you guys just hang out there you take a long rest. You hang out for 21 hours. You'll be fine.
Yeah, there's no, it's not like we might potentially go crazy because we're rolling
Oh,
a
you've got a
save every hour.
dragon, and you have a dome.
That is true. We do have the bubble. The
You
bubble
have a
is very
dome,
helpful.
and Edward can just cast that as many times as you want. Plus, I don't think many things come to the plains of Illaver. I think that's kind of the deal of it. Like, the big glowing orb thing keeps bad things out. So, like, I think you guys will be fine.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be like, Abinthy's gonna get his memory back, and he's like, "Oh my god, I have to go. I am really sorry. I will be back." Which is the worst thing to do to someone that you
Uh-huh.
basically left alone. You're like
Uh-huh.
left, and you're like,
It's
"I'll be back," and they just never showed up again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just like, yeah, last time you said you'd be back, you disappeared for 20 years. It's just like, dude, I promise this time I'll actually like
Dog,
come back.
trust
Like
me,
I left my friends in pandemonium. I need to go
they're in a
get them.
bad way. I have to go get them. I am really sorry. It's going to be a rough episode to role play for Aaron, for sure.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, the first hour is just gonna be you and DJ. So
yeah, and then I'm gonna show up in pandemonium. Then it just gets worse. Another favorite thing, straight up, we get out of the bubble. Well, you guys get out of the bubble, and I don't know if it was Edward or Renaya that just straight up went, "Did Abinthy abandon us?" And it's like, the first instinct is that Abinthy betrayed you.
I think that was Edward that said
I
that.
think it might have been Edward. It was one of the two.
It was one of the two.
Which
Yes.
was
So
just
I
great.
know I do remember that happened. Just like,
Um,
did Abernathy just totally leave us to die?
which is
It's
great
like,
because it's like, if anyone else had Apathy's party in the group, it's assumed that something bad happened to them. But if Apathy does it,
well,
if Apathy's gone, it's like, oh, well, Apathy probably betrayed us.
yeah, he
Um,
pretty. Oh,
which is
what is that?
true to
But see,
form.
what does that say about Abernathy?
Yeah, it's completely accurate.
I mean, to be fair, like,
If Abinthy was not held there by uh, a sense of remorse and duty and like justification, then he would not be here.
yeah, true. Well, and to be fair, we did see him just straight up bounce without anyone else. So
Absolutely. Correction. Your sister and the dragon saw it.
yes, yes,
So, um, but yeah, it certainly isn't a good look. So Abinthy's gonna have to deal with that.
yeah. He's gonna be like, look, guys,
He's like, look,
I promise I didn't mean to leave
I
you.
looked into the
I
face
totally
of a
forgot
thing
about you.
older than existence itself, and because of that, forgot everything that I have ever done, other than my name.
You know the really funny thing about that? That's also totally sounds like something that Abathy would just make up.
Absolutely, that sounds like a lie. Like, okay, yeah, sure you did, bud. All right.
Oh, sure. You just happened to
Yeah.
see the
Okay.
face of some great old one and just forget
You
about
didn't.
us.
You didn't just run out because you were like, "Well, I don't want to hang out in Pandemonium. I'm gonna go hang out with my fiance." Like a loser.
Like a loser.
Yeah, and he's like,
That's right.
"Well, no, but that would have been better than what I did do. In reality, you
That
should go
would have been
talk to my
better.
other friend. I know this guy.
I
Great Smith.
guys remember, right. I re-met him
Yeah, re-met him.
just the other
Super
day.
cool dude.
Super
He's
cool dude.
really upset with me though. So, but yeah, I'm excited to. I'm excited. This next I'm always excited for the next episode. Some episodes I'm more excited for than others, and this is one of those. I'm real pumped. I'm super jazzed.
Yeah. I DJ and I were talking a little bit. It might not happen next episode, but mayhaps in the next episode. If not, it would be in the following episode that Catherine would retake an oath.
Ooh. Also, this is
and
a
I
thing.
think.
Oh no! You do your thing first.
Oh, okay. And I was just gonna say I think I've decided on which route he's gonna go.
Awesome.
Which is good. Hopefully, I don't change my mind for the 5th time.
I have no idea what you'll end up choosing. I have like some guesses, but for the most part,
I'm just gonna like, I'm holding my cards right. It's like, Oath of Destiny, Oath of the Watcher. Who knows? Even Oath of Glory in there.
It's when you
like,
have
no.
It's when
and then I'm like, I just like,
but both
no.
Your cards
it
are,
was this the whole time.
Both of your
it
cards
just stays
are like
Oathbreaker.
+4s, and you're like, which one should I choose? It might be a good one.
It would be kind of funny if it's just like there's just this conference table and a bunch of gods are like talking to Catherine. It's like, so look, if you go with us, this is what we'll give you.
It does feel like the NBA draft, like people going to colleges where they have like all of the hats set up on the table.
Yeah.
And they're like, let me try on the Tennessee hat, and everyone's like, yeah, and then he like takes off the Tennessee hat. And then he puts on like the Oklahoma hat, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And he takes off that one. He's like, "Oh, how about Duke?" Like,
yep. Oh man.
But yeah. So what I rudely interrupted you with earlier because it just hit me all of a sudden. I don't think it wasn't seen in this past episode, and I'm not sure if did Grant mention it on screen that he has a different Bard subclass now. Because if not,
no,
he does. And I'm not going to say what it is, but I have been pushing for this since he got a subclass in Bard. I was like, he was like, I want to kind of focus more on magic with Edward. And that was when Havel was also multiclassing into Wizard. And so he was like, oh man, now I feel very overshadowed. Because like,
right.
Bard is not going to be as good at magic as Wizard.
Right.
And I was like, and at that point in time, I was like, hear me out. You go into Fighter. You go into Eldritch Knight. You're like, oh, okay. That seems legit. And I brought out a whole spreadsheet. I was like,
right.
Look
Yeah.
at this.
As you do.
Look at this stuff. It's incredible. And he was like, oh, yeah, okay, I like it. But then also at that point in time, I'm like, hear me out. College of Lore, not even worth it. Check out this subclass here. It's beautiful. it fits. If you look at Edward, it fits the character. You get to do cool stuff with it. It's rad. And he was like, but I want the magic. And I'm like, that's your own choice. And now it has finally gotten to the point where he's like, looking to do some changes with Edward. And I was like, riddle me this, Puzzle Master. Have you considered changing your subclass by asking your DM to kindly allow you to do so? And he was like, no, what subclass? And I was like, behold my Google spreadsheet. You gain these benefits that you never use and are pretty terrible, when you could be getting these benefits, which you can't fail. They're always there. They're great. And he was like, wow, that is really good. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty tasty, isn't it? And he was like, that is pretty tasty. I can smell it from here. I'm going to talk to DJ. And apparently the conversation with DJ went, hey, DJ, I was thinking, could I switch my subclass from this to this? And DJ went, oh, yeah, sure. Like it was the easiest thing in the world.
I must admit, DJ, one thing that always throws me off about DJ with him as a DM is he at least for me, I feel like there are some things that he's just super like casual about, and other things that he's like really strict on.
Oh yeah, well,
and so it's hard to predict which way he'll feel.
Well, so I think what it is does it make sense in the world regardless of the game rules, which is like makes sense, like the whole paladin thing, right? Like you audibly take an oath in an episode, like that's a thing. So like changing your subclass canonically makes sense, even though the rules have nothing against it, that it takes more effort and time. For the bard subclass, College of Lore it's a really good subclass because it doesn't do a whole lot. It just gets you better at some of the things that you do. It's like the College of Lore is the fighter of subclasses, where it's like, yeah, this is a strong subclass because it gives you more options, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like super exciting. And so you never really see Edward do anything with College of Lore. You're just like, he just uses his regular bard abilities. So switching from lore to insert the other subclass here really doesn't give you any tangible, visible differences in gameplay other than the fact that Edward can now use abilities that he hasn't used before.
Right.
So it's like, and it isn't because theoretically, he hasn't been able to use them. It's that he just hasn't used them.
Right.
Because lore has it has cutting words. That's the only thing that like changes. The rest is just you get more spells. And some proficiencies. So it's like, ugh, man, I'm gonna lose those.
If I'm being honest, I didn't know that his subclass was College of Lore.
It's you literally never notice it. It's you gain proficiencies. You gain the ability to choose up to 4 spells, I think, somewhere around there from other classes. So that's how Scanlan had like counterspell,
right,
and stuff like that. Because Scanlan from Vox Machina was College of Lore. And you get cutting words, which like almost never matters. It basically is just never a thing that's important. Because it's like, you can roll your Bardic Inspiration to decrease the number rolled on an attack roll or a damage roll. You're like, okay, so I have my D10 here.
Right.
And they rolled a 30. And I have an AC of 16.
Yep.
They're also going to hit me for 70 damage.
Yep.
Why would I use this?
Yep. It's way more valuable just to use it as a normal Bardic Inspiration.
Just like help your own people do stuff, which is one of the big problems with 5th edition at its core, is like it's way better to just hurt the enemy than to like help your friends. There's very little support work that can be done. Other than, instead of hurting my friends, you hurt me. Or you hurt me and just instead of my friends in the first place. That's pretty much the most support that you have. They're like spells, but even the support spells, the best ones are this helps my friends hurt the enemy more.
Right.
So it's just one of those things. Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope that it comes into play. The best part is he can do exactly as he has been doing, and it will come into play. Because the subclass that he has specifically affects all of the things that he already does as a bard. Which is rad. I'm supposed to work with him on some stuff.
I think I know which one it is.
I think I've talked to you about it before.
Because I was gonna say, I think I remembered a previous conversation that we had.
Almost definitely.
So maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe off.
Perhaps we will.
Yeah.
But yeah, very good episode. Really excited for the changes and developments that we will be having for the next several episodes. I think that Apathy's last big reveal for like big secret that he has that is fundamental to his character will most likely be revealed in no more than 5 episodes. It could be in the next 3. I don't think it'll be in the next 1, but it could. So 5 is unlikely.
Like a 10% chance.
Yeah, 3 is probably within 3 is pretty likely. Within 2 is I'd say a strong 60%, 60 to 70, and then within 1 is very low. But it's possible. We've hit that percentage before. So yeah, I'm very excited for the next several episodes. Plus we get I'm gonna double down on making stuff, and I got so many plans in the works, dude.
I mean, well, yeah, especially if we go to see Yorwick, you know, I get to reforge my sword, which is gonna be rad.
Yeah, we get access to someone who can do stuff with metal instead of fabric. That's a game changer,
right? Creating armor and weapons. Oh, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I want to make artifacts. Aaron wants this. Well, I want to do it. I know that we're only like level 15. That's only level 15. That's 75% of the way to level 20.
I mean, yeah.
That's,
plus, again, I mean,
pull me in, coach.
So here's the weird thing, right? That I have struggled with of like, who are we going to fight in this upcoming things?
So first we have to kill the Grim Reaper. Then we have to kill Baphomet.
So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Because I talked to DJ outside a game, and he feels very convinced that we're not even going to fight the Grim Reaper.
I'm fine with showing up and stealing the Talonash's soul. We don't have to kill him.
But see, I want to fight him. But like, anyway. So we might not fight the Grim Reaper.
Who knows? I'm down with whatever, dog. But we have to deal with the Grim Reaper, then we have to kill Baphomet, and we have to kill Baphomet. There's no not killing Baphomet involved here. And then we have to deal with Justari. And then we have to deal with whatever's in the cocoon.
Yeah, right. And
done.
And I'm just like, I'm just thinking to myself, right? Like, okay,
and like then we have to kill the mother goddess, Lanantari. Kill the world itself.
We need, but like, I would argue like we're gonna need to be gaining some artifact level weapons pretty soon here. If we're trying to fight like Baphomet within the next like 2 levels, we're gonna need some hefty stuff here.
Absolutely.
Like hefty
and I'm
stuff.
not saying that like honestly, Apathy's final build doesn't even include an artifact. But it includes like some of the best of the place just below artifact. But like I want to make like an artifact for Edward and Cather and Renaya. The trouble is, Renaya is very attached to the things that she has, which makes it very difficult.
Well, so that's why I want to I'm hoping that when we reforge Cather's sword, that can just be an artifact for Cather.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Yours is an easy one.
Yeah, so we'll see that.
Edward is easy because most of his stuff is bad. So we can just get him good stuff. He has better stuff now. Like the Rod of Lordly Might is a good item.
Hmm.
It fits.
Very versatile.
It fits Edward very well. He's got uh, good. It's got good options, good utility. It's just a good item. It counts as like 7 different magic items. Put me in, coach. You can like paralyze people with it. It's a good item. Um, but like, so I feel like for Cather, we can get you that sword as an artifact. For Edward, I kind of want to bump up his defense. I feel like Edward should get some kind of defensive
I mean,
artifact.
I don't know. He has a defender rapier.
Well, yeah, but like if you're using the Rod of Lordly Might, you would just rather do that. Most of the time. I suppose you could have both, but even so, here's my problem with the defender. I think that the defender is a really good concept for an item that is not as good as the concept ends up being. So like it's useful, but you have to give up the benefit of it to have it do the thing that you want. Like if it was
Well, I agree. However, I will point out Edward's 3 attunement slots, he currently has an amulet of proof against detection and location,
yeah, get rid of
a
that.
cloak of displacement, and then his defender rapier. So like literally just get rid of the amulet, throw in the rod, he can have both.
Yeah, but he's not gonna like attack with both most of the time.
Well, I mean,
He might attack with one one and then the other, but to maximize DPS. Because here's the thing. So here's how I would have made the defender, the like magic item, to have it actually fit its rarity. Because here's the dumb thing about rarity in Dungeons and Dragons. If you put a +3 on a stick, it's the highest rarity you can get, which is stupid. A +3 club with no other benefits is like very rare. Why? Why is it? You know what else is very rare? Staff of the Magus, dude. What? How does that transfer in terms of quality? Here's what I would have done with the defender. I would have had it be a +3 weapon, and for each time you hit an enemy on your with it until the start of your next turn, you add +1 to your AC up to a maximum of 4 or 5. That's what I would have it to be. Because right now what it is if you attack, when you attack with it, you have to attack with it. You can choose to transfer the +3 to your armor instead of the weapon. So then you just have a normal rapier that does magical damage and a higher armor class. Now you can choose to transfer 1 or 2 of it, but even then, that means that you're degrading your magic sword. That's such a bad turnout. And like, it makes you want to attack, but like also not want to attack. It's just a poorly worded weapon. Like, it just doesn't do all that it lives up for, because you have to give up the benefit of the weapon for the benefit of the weapon.
Did you know that Edward had an adamantine breastplate?
Yeah, I did.
How long has he had that?
Since the time skip. Because when we were going over it, and I was like, "Hey, let's look at the magic items for you, bud," and he was like, "I don't know, this is very difficult." I was like, "All right, I'll give you a couple options. I'll list out what I think Edward would use and it would be helpful for." And I was like, I think the defender is a good choice for Edward, because a lot of your thing is attack, and then you can also cast a spell with action surge. So you can like attack, gain a bonus to your AC, because you get hit a lot. So having higher AC is good for you, and you don't really lose the benefit. And then you get crit more than any other person in the game, other than Tarak. But Tarak's dead, so now that's your job. So simple solution, here's an item that prevents that from happening. That's why if you listen back to the episode and we end up with that magic item, he knows what it does. That's why, because he has it.
I see.
He's like, "Ooh, that's good. It stops crits." And I'm like, "Yeah, it does, buddy. You got it, friend." But yeah, so I'm trying to think of what Edward's artifact would be. Because to be fair, technically Renaya actually has like 3 artifacts. None of them are like what I want an artifact to be. Like the closest one is probably the dagger, but I don't even know if that really counts because it doesn't really do a whole lot. Like the dagger that we stole, it's like a insignia that says, "Hey, I'm allowed to kill things."
Right.
But in terms of actual use, it isn't like I stab a god and then they're like, "Oh god, me." Ah. Right. No, it's just a normal dagger that lets you stab them. It gives you permission.
Right.
But like I don't know. I feel like if we were to split artifacts into 3 different types of magic items, where you have weapons, you have armor, and then you have I think whoa geez, what's the term for the magic items that are a wondrous item or something like that? Renaya would end up with a wondrous item because the Orb of Dragonkind is another one of those really lame artifacts. This is my own opinion. It is so situational. And even then it's probably just purely detrimental to you. It's a DM artifact. It's a MacGuffin. It's a, hey, this is really good for the people that aren't you, so you should keep it away from them type of magic item. It isn't one that you would really use as a player. It like gives you some spells to cast, but the actual benefit of an artifact is the cool things that nothing else can do. Like if you look at oh geez, yeah, let me pull out my
I have my DMG pulled up. So for instance, looking at like so in the DMG they have many sample items. The first one is the Axe of Dwarvish Lords.
Axe of Dwarven Lords.
Battle axe,
pretty okay
artifact.
It's a pretty okay artifact.
It gives a bunch of lore for it, but it's like, okay, this axe is a +3 weapon. It also acts as a belt of dwarven thrower, and a sword of sharpness. And it has 2 minor beneficial properties, 1 major beneficial property, and 2 minor detrimental properties.
Yeah.
Overall, not bad.
It's fine. It's not that interesting, but it's a good item. So here's the thing that's...
Personally speaking, the book of Vile Darkness is one of my favorite artifacts.
So this is another thing that irritates me. Spellcasters get all of the best magic items, other than clerics. And even then, when you get a good cleric magic item, it's a really good cleric magic item. Like it's either terrible or absolutely bonkers. But all of the artifacts have like some cool parts to them, and then they just fall flat at the end, which is really dumb. The closest thing that I can think of for like the Axe of Dwarven Lords, I love the Conjure Earth Elemental. I think that's really cool. And the like traveling the depths is awesome. Like if you're underground, or if you touch a fixed piece of dwarven stonework, you can teleport to another location underground. You can teleport somewhere else, but there is no chance of mishap if you teleport underground. Really awesome. That's cool stuff. Most of the time, though, I would rather have like a legendary item. It seems that like when WotC made artifacts, they were like, people are going to want these because of the major and minor properties, whether they be detrimental or beneficial. When that isn't what I want the magic item for. Like the major beneficial, like there's good beneficial properties and stuff. Honestly, they're a lot lamer than the negatives. Like, ooh, you regain 1d6 hit points at the start of your turn if you have at least 1 hit point. That's pretty good. In the grand scheme of things, that's not going to help you that much. That's not going to be that crazy. Like, you have access to a 5th level spell or above. You cannot be blinded, deafened, petrified, or stunned. That's pretty cool. I don't want that. I want the magic item to do something. That's why I get a magic item. Like, if I get an artifact, I want it to, like, do something rad. Like, something that no other spell can do. It's a magic item that does a thing that is not capable to anyone else in the world. I had an artifact in my, gosh dang, play-by-text game. It had the ability to move up to 4,000 cubic tons of earth in an action and either move it to a different visible location by like literally excavating it or teleport it to the elemental plane of earth. Coolest thing ever. Like, it may not have been 4,000, it might have been 1,000 cubic feet of earth. But it was awesome. I got to like make a dungeon with it. Like every day I just go down there, boop, did a thing. And that was my downtime. I was just slowly making an underground temple. In combat, I used it to like elevate us on a platform or throw it at an enemy or dig a trough and stuff like that. And it did a fair amount of damage, but it took my whole action to do. Still really rad. Also, that artifact dealt additional damage, counted as multiple different magic items, and could summon a lava elemental. Super cool. It had beneficial and negatives, but the core of it is that it allowed me to do something that no one else could do. And a lot of the magic items, like a lot of the artifacts in the book, just don't do that. Like, ooh, your wisdom increases by 2. And any spell slot you expend to cast a cleric or paladin spell counts as a spell slot of 1 level higher. That's pretty good. You get a halo that sheds bright light and gives you advantage on persuasion and intimidation checks when talking with good or evil creatures and stuff like that. And they make undead and fiends make attack rolls with disadvantage. That doesn't help me do anything. Like, the halo's neat. It's a cool thing, but like there's going to be times where you give your cleric or paladin a book of exalted deeds and it literally does like nothing. And it's just like, well, it's here.
I've moved on from the artifacts because I also wanted to freshen up on the different boons that exist. And you know, on looking at the boons overall, they actually kind of suck. Like, there's a couple of them that are like, ooh, that's like actually very helpful. Like, for instance, the boon of high magic. You gain a second 9th level spell slot.
And these you're talking about epic boons, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so like
stuff
that,
you get at 20th level and above.
Yeah, that's super helpful. What's not super helpful is something like boon of fate. Whenever a creature you see within 60 feet of you makes a build check, attack roll, or saving throw, you can add 1d10 as a bonus or penalty to the roll, and you can only do so once per day.
Absolutely, this is my.
I get I get a bardic inspiration die once per day.
Yeah, it's
as an epic level boon, and he gets to cast Wish twice in one day.
Bro, this happened in the campaign where we like played to like epic levels. I think Ryan Urita was DMing it. That's what it felt like, where the wizards had like 3 or 4 9th level spell slots at level 20, and I had the ability to cast Plane Shift once a day, and it only worked on me. And I'm like, what?
Or for instance, boon of resilience. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magic weapons. Okay, so that's a 15th level feature for the Oathbreaker Paladin. Dude. And so many other classes.
Yeah, like, and then you have like the boon of spell recall, which is just better than the first one you mentioned because it works for any spell that you have without expending a spell slot. So you not only get 2 9th level spells, but you just get 1 of any spell slot you want once a day, and for any spell that you know. Excuse me, like the boons, I just don't understand why some of them have such horrible restrictions to them. Like, I can understand only being able to do the 9th level spell thing once a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Makes sense.
9th level spells are crazy powerful.
Like, Boon of Immortality. Pretty cool. But really doesn't help you most time. It's a good way, like, if you know that your character is going to show up in if your DM carries over stuff from campaigns, it's a good way to ensure that your character ends up in another campaign. I did that with my Play Detect's character. He was immortal, so that way, because I knew that the DM has been running the same world through every edition of Dungeons & Dragons. And I'm like, it would be really cool to know that my character will be seen by other people that this DM plays with. really awesome.
Boon of perfect health. You are immune to all diseases and
Yeah,
poisons, and you
okay.
have
Yeah,
advantage on Constitution save throws.
so
That's like
you're a
okay. That's
dwarf
kind of
paladin.
helpful, but like yeah, it's like you're literally
Yeah, dwarf
if you
paladin. It's
are
like
or
level
have a
1.
paladin in your party, like that's
This is like
like
level 1.
diseases and poisons are worthless.
Irresistible offense, really cool. You can just bypass damage resistances of any creature. What would
That
have made it
is nice.
cooler, and hear me out, I know it's a bit crazy. I think that it should bypass resistances and immunities.
Hmm. Yeah,
Or
I would
it
agree.
should optionally be able to bypass immunities a number of times a day.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, they're epic boons, dog. Make them epic.
Epic. The boon of
Like,
peerless aim. I kind of like. You give yourself a plus 20 bonus to attack to a ranged attack roll you make. Now, granted,
yeah.
you can only do it once per day,
Once again,
but
have it happen
still pretty nice.
like 3 times a day. I think 3 times is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, just let them do it a little more often. It's not that it's not going to break anything. You already didn't care about how balanced the game was at level 20.
Well, I was gonna say, and like because the thing is, right? Like, part of the thought is like, oh, hey, we don't want these to be like too strong to make the characters like broken. It's like, okay, but the epic boons are the reward for making it to level 20. They should make
Yeah.
your characters feel broken.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's not make it too broken. You have your fighter here, and he's like, I have the boon of immortality. I don't get old. And then you have like, hello, I am Balthazar the wizard. Time stop. Meteor swarm. What?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
excuse me? How is
Yep.
how is that at all? That's not safe. That's not, oh
Yep.
yeah, let's make it fun and balanced for everyone. What? Like,
Uh-huh.
like, excuse me? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
So it's like your 20th level party adventurers who are
Give him something
like
rad.
yeah, give them something really cool. They're supposed to be like on par with like demigods.
Yeah.
So like they should be cool. They
Actually,
should feel
that's like
cool.
level 20. Past level 20, you should be like approaching like you are a threat to some like minor gods.
Yeah.
Maybe even big ones depending on how far you go.
Yeah.
Like,
If depending on how many minor gods you slay, you absorb
absolutely.
their power.
Like, and this is like my style of dungeon. I love playing games that go past level 20 when the DM, or if I am DMing, when my players really understand that they can start to leverage the fact that the rules no longer apply to them. Like, because no, like, you hit level 21 or whatever, dog, no one expected you to get this far. They don't have rules for that. You can just start making it up. At that point in time, you're like, yeah, your DM's just like, yeah, you just situationally become immune to death. I don't know, why not, dog? You want it? Okay, sounds good to me. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, so, but we actually, this was a lot to talk about this episode.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up.
I haven't eaten yet today.
Same. I need
And
to go.
I don't know what I'm
hungry.
going to eat, but I should probably eat something. But I am going to say this is probably what we should call it. Is there any other final statements or things that you would like to talk about that will take under 15 minutes?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything either. So for those of you still watching us today, thank you for stopping by and saying hello. For those of you, if someone ends up watching this not on Twitch, which I think sometimes may occasionally accidentally happen, and if you made it all the way to the end, thank you very much as well. Plugs. We have social medias: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Check those out. They're pretty slow right now because I'm attempting to take the responsibility for them, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So currently I have made none that are good enough to do anything with. But keep an eye on it, because eventually, theoretically, I will advance my level of skill to the point where it is worth doing anything. Other than that, we also have a website, www.thepaperdungeon.com, where we have a merch store. You can buy merch with our logo and other cool stuff on it. Speaking of merch stores, Lydia Corinne, the one who does all of our art, including our overlays and character art, also has a store, lydiacorinne.com, where you can buy her art on shirts, pillows, and other things. And you can also commission her, and please commission her because she needs money to pay rent. After that, if you want to support us, and not specifically Lydia, although you should do that as well, we have many ways to do that. We have a Streamlabs donation, we have a Ko-Fi, and we have a Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, Patreon is really rad. We release an extra game monthly over there, and we will eventually be including more stuff, especially once we get to Campaign 2. I have a lot of things planned for some additional crowd interaction over Patreon, and that may affect the main story in and of itself.
Ooh.
Yes, got some big things planned for there, but that's a ways in the works, so don't get your hopes up too quickly. Other than the Patreon, we also have a Discord. The Discord is important because sometimes, especially if you're a subscriber, we will release extra fun little content over there that you can check out that the only other people who will get it are the Patreon members. So we release little teasers of Patreon and sometimes just other full games that we're like, we should let the subscribers have this.
Yeah.
And the only way you'll get access to those is through our Discord. It's a really awesome place where the people there are really cool. You can talk to them, say good morning. It's a very wholesome place. Sometimes they even stream games over there, like Backyard Baseball, which actually made me like almost burst into tears and sweat. Like it was
From losing or winning?
I won, and I felt like I lost. It was the most emotional game I've ever played. Where I was at a point in time, I was actively praying to a child named Keisha Phillips, nicknamed the Flash, just to pull off a miracle. And you best believe Keisha pulled it out of nowhere. All right, it was a dream or a nightmare. It's hard to know.
One of the two.
It was the most serious I've ever been while playing a game, and it is a game meant for children. That I was playing on a normal difficulty, and I have no idea how any 8-year-old would ever win. They literally could not. I refuse to believe it. If there is a child who can beat this game and is not, gosh dang, super serum, super soldier enhanced, I don't know who it is. This game is ridiculous. I have no idea what juice they gave to these children to make them so good at baseball. But it is not okay. I need to see birth certificates. Because Keisha Phillips is definitely 30 years old. Like, there's no way that she is a kid when Pablo is there. Pablo's like 2 foot nothing. Keisha's like 6 feet tall. All right? 6 feet tall, like 210 pounds of solid muscle. I don't know what's up with her. But yeah, so check out the Discord. It's a really cool place. Sorry, I got a little off track there. I love Backyard Baseball. It's a fantastic game. I don't have any more plugs. That's my stuff.
There you go.
So, as for the only thing that I have remaining to say today is good luck and Godspeed, everyone. We will see you next time, Dungeoneers. It's been a blast. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.